In our experiences over the last year, I was fortunate enough to develop a relationship and a friendship with Dr. Dan Rubin, who is also associated with us, and get to know him and get to know his passion and his energy to fight on the front lines every day. He has been practicing for over 15 years as a naturopathic oncologist. And it's not just being a doctor. It's being a listener to that patient. It's being a practitioner that cares, that has compassion and sympathy for the cancer patient that impressed me about Dr. Dan Rubin. And putting an event like this out there to say, I've got a message that I want to carry to you so we all continue to fight the fight. It's my pleasure to welcome to the podium tonight in our inaugural event, Writers Unite to Fight Cancer, Dr. Dan Rubin.
Thank you. The tumor brought me back to life, she said to me one day in my office. I had been battling for some time whether or not to come back to this life, she continued. The tumor forced me to make that decision. How often I hear this in my office, and how powerful are words, so said by those we know and love, but so often are dismissed quickly in the context of discussion in a busy life. But it is words like these that can save, that can elevate the person above the diagnosis. How awesome this world would be with a shifted paradigm, a departure from the treatment-centered pathologic basis of disease, with arrival at a patient-centered physiologic one, thus representing the elevation of the person above the diagnosis, a transcendence of the person beyond the disease. This paradigm is about seeing people with cancer, not cancer patients. No, at our clinic, we scold ourselves should we use the latter phrase. And what is in a phrase? Words. Words are in a phrase. Words like on this paper as I say them to you today, the same words that find themselves in a patient chart in our office, and the same words that grace the pages of those books on those tables in this room. And how written or spoken words have the power to create change. Even simple words like, I love you, or you are beautiful. As the woman with breast cancer looks at herself naked in the mirror, after a mastectomy, a port insertion, 5 rounds of chemotherapy, at her bald head and her battered chest, those words, you are beautiful, can be incredibly powerful in the fight against cancer. Holly Robinson writes in Sleeping Tigers, as her main female character becomes involved with a new man, she worries that her scar will put him off. She tells him, I feel flawed, like a teacup with a chip in it. The thing is, I keep wondering if the whole handle will break off next, you know? Could this represent a new beginning for this character? It all depends on her perspective and inspiration. One of the most inspiring songs I know of is written by Natasha Bedingfield. It begins, I am unwritten, can't read my mind, I'm undefined. I'm just beginning, the pen's in my hand, ending unplanned. But instead of anticipating the handle breaking off, so to speak, consider the paradigmatic shift that could have occurred within Rose's main character, should that character have listened to the song as it continues. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window. Let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions and feel the rain on your skin. I'm not sure that anyone actually plans on themselves or anyone else getting cancer, especially children. So how goes it when a young child loses the fight? In Daniel's Mountain, Christine Wolfe describes a father grieving over the death of his infant son, where he learns love never dies. It just changes shape. Everything happens for a reason, do you understand? Said a Nikolai Indian guide to the grieving father. But how does one find reason in such an awful instance? All death is transformative. But we must remember the gravity of such on those left behind in this world. And in this world of expanding shyness, remember that it is okay to feel, to emote. For in the end, it is indeed what enables our humanity. It takes a village to care for someone with cancer. And those with cancer must know that they are not to go at their fight alone, but behold, they must fight. And we are here to unite in this fight. Margaret Turley and Lisa Finder have brought us here to do just that. With this Arizona Centennial, we are all here to pool our skills and emotions and let words be our guides. Words are precious and satisfying, but can be so harsh and hurtful at the same time. Words can bring someone back home, no matter what the distance. So I will carry on, forever sing your song. If I have to live without you, I'll love the best I can, but whisper when you're near me, and I'm home. It does not matter that Derek did not suffer from cancer. Rather, he was a boy with cystic fibrosis whom always considered himself the boy who was going to die. That incredibly powerful stanza is from the book Sing Me to Sleep by Angela Morrison, written for Derek's funeral. On the crest of this centennial, we find ourselves in the second decade of the 21st century, and we are still fighting the battle against cancer. As a nation, spending on cancer treatments are projected to reach at least $258 billion by the year 2020. And out-of-pocket spending for non-conventional medicine is proportionately high. Chemotherapy had its advent in the 1940s, and President Nixon officially waged the war against cancer in 1971, the same year medical oncology became a recognized specialty. Radiation therapy has come a long way since its inception in the early 1900s. Today we have proton beam therapy, cyberknife, gamma knife, IMRT, IGRT, brachytherapy. For the most part, though, chemotherapy is still the mainstay of treatment. And although protocols may have undergone change, the treatment premise remains. Ultimately, lasting eradication of malignancy depends upon competent immune function. Cytoreductive or kill strategies serve their intended purpose of rapid tumor reduction, but are only mildly hopeful at enabling the patient's own immunological response. Unsurprisingly then, such therapies diminish self-defense mechanisms, leaving the host susceptible not only to infection, but to recurrence and metastasis of their cancer as well. Indeed, 10% of people with cancer die of infectious disease rather than the malignancy itself. And so often I hear a patient tell me that their medical or radiation oncologist told them to not take any supplements during conventional treatment time for fear they would interfere with its effects. Supplements that may have otherwise provided benefit to their quality of life or survival. But here lies the perfect opportunity for union in the fight against cancer. A union of naturopathic and allopathic physicians as comrades in the village. The first decade of this century brought us small molecule therapy, a subculture that provides powerful medicines in the guise of a magic bullet. But it also brought us the recognized specialty of naturopathic oncology and the invention and rise of the naturopathic oncologist. What the people have called for has been delivered. The naturopathic profession united and brought to the public the naturopathic oncologist, the specialist, the expert in the non-conventional approaches to the person with cancer, and a breath of fresh air for so many that have been on the quest for such for so long a time. For some, this is a lent hand to open up that dirty window. And so goes the fight. We are now entering the era of the promise of personalized medicine, from concierge to tumor type testing, proteomics, metabolomics, gene arrays. Hail the characterization of one's own tumor, the next great oncological frontier. With no expense spared, science and medicine are now making cancer a series of orphan diseases, a unique philosophy whose time should have come long ago, but the reality of which is still in question. Even with the remarkable advances that have been made in the medical sciences, we have only glimpses still into the wonderful and intricate workings of the human body. Treatments which attempt to attack disease from without remain, despite their increasing sophistication, blunderings about in a place of marvels. Cancer is a disease that requires individualized treatment that is as physiological as we can attain, with constant reverence for the mystery and beauty of the human body, even in illness. So what of prevention? What of the environment we live in today? Our world is scorned by our past chemical revolution, and our earth by the chemicals themselves. What of our children addicted to violent video games while they sit and let the world go by? As they sit with snacks in hand, chemical-laden, genetically modified food bits, readily available, inexpensive, and fun to eat. What of a world where our water is so contaminated that it is becoming our next precious commodity? What of a world where we are dependent upon plastics? And what of a world where our babies are being born with over 200 chemicals flowing through their blood? And what of our schools? And why is there not a class on health and prevention in the 2nd grade? Why is it left to private and charter schools to teach animal care and organic gardening? What of the phrase natural foods? How did we, as a generation, arrive at such a notion? What so awfully happened to us that we now consume something called unnatural foods? Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food, said Hippocrates 2,500 years ago. If so then bow to the naturopathic physician, bow to those restaurateurs that are ahead of their time, give thanks to the organic farmers, and high fives to those that treat their livestock with respect. Read your labels, become educated. Let your palate change, and be effortful and mindful in your consumption. Have a rainbow on your plate. Scrutinize the menu. Ask the server if the salmon is wild caught, if the beef is grass-fed, and if so, for how long. Memorize the dirty dozen. Speak out about genetically modified foods. Make noise, for as we live, it is the only way we can create effective change. In the end, prevention is our best cure. And what of our genome? The very fabric of who we are as a species is risked to change. We must unite, and we must write. Write your books, more please, I beg of you. Write your congressperson and let them know you are ready to fight. Write your daughter or your son and let them know there's a better world out there. Heck, write your parents. Write your friends, your teacher, your religious figure. Be a zealot. Teach someone how to prevent or treat illness with the simplicity of a dietary choice or an activity change. Be the change you want to see, for change is the essence of the human experience. What of a world without cancer? Is it rational? Is it possible? What of a world where we respect our enemy insofar as we are willing to prevent its occurrence in the first place? To prevent takes strength and courage. I honor my mother as a symbol of courage. My mother, a 26-year survivor of metastatic breast cancer, a brave soul whom has trampled over hardship in her life, a true writer, uniter, and fighter. Let us now celebrate the mothers in the audience, the mothers worldwide. There's nothing like the love of a mother. Think of your mother and all the mothers whom have made an impact in your life. Picture that person. If she is no longer living, feel again her touch, her strength, her motherliness that she once gave to you. Holly Rose writes in her work, Live and Give, Facebooking My Way Through Breast Cancer. You can't take me. Who is going to keep letters from Santa coming to Ivy? Who? Who will know when Hannah really just needs to get it all out somehow? She's not mad. She's scared. No one else will know these things. No one else will go the extra mile doing those little things that only Mommy can do. Not even Daddy. You can't take me. Please, I'm staying here. They need me. And this quote from the Breast Cancer Patient Perspectives Project, as recalled by a woman upon receiving her diagnosis. I was horrified, terrified, and could only concentrate on the faces of my children, wondering if they were mature enough to live without a mother. My husband is a strong parent, and I am blessed with good friends who would be supportive of my children, but I wanted it to be me. Unless we ourselves are diagnosed with cancer, we are unable to truly appreciate its impact. But so often, it is the facing of one's own mortality that brings them to fight, and with courage. I've said before, great medicine is defined by its benefit to humankind, whether it be improved survival time, decreased pain, improved quality of life, or some other measurable and meaningful instance. And greatness often starts with hypotheses represented by mere paper and culture dish, which, when taken to the clinic, become live with rich personal interaction. Such interaction brings excitement to the future of the art of medicine, delivering one from the boring rote-dumb of yawnful prescribing. A deliverance that once realized and once actualized can foster greatness. For greatness is born of great deeds, and great deeds in medicine are born of raw physician talent embraced by the unwavering courage of our patients. It is in this realm that naturopathic oncology awaited to transcend its mystery and emerge as a true discipline. Enter the naturopathic oncologist. In her book, 5 to Thrive, naturopathic oncologist, colleague, and cancer survivor, Dr. Lisa Alschuler, understands what it means to fight. Alschuler says, while cancer rears its ugly head in far too many people's lives, with some reluctance, I do grant it respect. For people affected by cancer, in spite of legitimate terror, this disease can stoke a smoldering ember of vitality into a roaring fire of hope, love, and courage. These are the gifts of cancer, and ultimately forge our triumph over it. I assume many of you here tonight have had those same embers stoked in the same way. How many of you in the audience have been affected by cancer in some way? Take a look around and feel the vibration in this chamber. As my wife, Dr. Debbie Smolinski, would say, and has said so eloquently in one of her addresses, enter your heart space now and create a very special heart space for this moment in time, and only this moment in time. The song I have been quoting through this address, ironically enough, is entitled Unwritten. And I feel that although we have so many wonderful people here tonight sharing with us their stories as scribed on the pages in this room, there are and have been countless others whose stories are unwritten. And I know that once an author, always an author. And that just because one book has been written does not mean there is not more to say. So to whom have come before us, are with us now, and for those who will come after, I leave you with the next verse of this song. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Thank you.